Hello, my name is Christopher, and today I'll be showing you how to install Scrypted on Portainer. A little bit about this channel is I'm going over from scratch on home automation, getting it started, and my house is got over 800 devices, almost 900. So me and my dad's been building it for years. So about Scrypted, the program that we'll be installing today is it helps you stream video to Apple TVs and makes it to where you can have those activity notifications up on the top right or anywhere you want on your Apple TV. Uh, but Scrypted runs it in the background and makes it to where non-HomeKit cameras can work on HomeKit and be able to uh, import them into the Home app with ease. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, we're going to install the Scrypted on Portainer, and I'm going to walk you step by step through it, and hopefully you'll learn lots and be able to understand what is happening. That's my goal, for you to understand. Okay. Now we're in the GitHub repository for Scrypted. This is where you can see the development of it. You can see that it was updated 2 days ago, so it is active. Okay, Scrypted is a high-performance home video integration automation platform. Video loads instantly everywhere. HomeKit secure video support. That means that it will upload it to iCloud and it will store it for I think 10 days, and it will not use your iCloud storage that you pay for. It doesn't account towards it, but you do have the limit of the 10 days. So that's a pretty nice feature. Okay, now you do have to have a paid for iCloud account though, and be on one of the memberships. But the membership levels determine how many cameras you can have recording and uploading. Okay, now you can install this on Raspberry Pi, Linux, Docker Compose. This is the recommended method. We're going to install with Docker Compose on Portainer stacks. Okay, Docker, local installation. We can install it on a Mac. We can install it on Windows. We can install it on Home Assistant OS. I might do a video on that. Okay, Ready NAS, Synology, QNAP, Unraid. You can install it on all those. Chat on Discord for support and tips, and they do have an active community, and they're really supportive. So you can go in there and join that Discord. You can see the wiki, documentation. Okay, now we're going to get started with Portainer installing. Okay, we're going to go back to home, start at home, so you start where you're going to start. Okay, now you're going to be in local right here. You're going to click local. Then now we're going to go into stacks. And stacking Portainer is just Docker Compose. It's an easier UI for it. It's a UI for it. You would have to use the command line if you didn't use Portainer. Okay. Now let's go up to add stack. Okay, you're in create stack. Here's the name of the stack. But we're going to stop right here and we're going to go get the YAML file that I've created in a public gist, and I will have it down in the YouTube description where you can go to it. Okay, now let's copy this. I'm going to explain it when I paste it inside of Portainer for you. Okay, now we're going to go into web editor. You can upload a file, connect it to a Git repository, or use a custom template. We're going to just use a web editor, but we're going to name this stack. We'll name it Scrypted stack. Short and simple. Okay, the stack will be deployed using Docker Compose, like I just said before, It uses Docker Compose under the hood. Okay, we're going to go on this web editor, and we're going to just do a paste because we copied it from the gist over here. Okay, normal Docker Compose version. Okay, now we're going to go on services. You can use their MVR. I've not looked into that, but I think it's a paid service, so it probably supports Scrypted somehow, some way. Okay, now we're going to go into services. We're going to start up the Scrypted container. We're going to pull the image from Docker Hub. And one tip that that I didn't know when I was first starting to use Docker is if this doesn't have a domain in front of it, it's pulling from Docker Hub. So so you can always know that. And then container name, we're going to name the container Scrypted. If you do use NVIDIA, you can put the NVIDIA support on by uncommenting these. But we're going to go down to restart. And this will just make it to where you can stop the container and it won't restart on you. That's what unless stop means. Okay, now let's go into network mode. This is important. It needs to be on the host for the MDNS to work. Okay, we're going to go down to devices, and you can uncomment this if you have hardware acceleration for video decoding. That makes it faster with video decoding and object detection, stuff like that. If you do have a Z-Wave USB serial device, you can put it on here. I use Home Assistant for that, so I will not be using that. Unless it gives some other features that Home Assistant doesn't give. I doubt it. I doubt it though. Okay, I haven't looked into it much though. So the USB devices, Coral PCI devices, then volumes. Okay, I'm going to explain this. So we're going to go on the local side, the VM. We're going to mount it in .scripted on the home. This is what this little thing means. It means that you're going into the home of the user. Then we're going to go to .scripted. Then we're going to go in the volume directory under .scripted. And then we're going to mount that there. And then this will keep in sync with server and volume directory inside of the container. These will both sync up together. Okay. Now here's the scripted NVR. I think that's the paid version of Scrypted's NVR, so you can go check out that if you want to. We're going to network mount it. It looks like if you do use Avahi, you can use that on Linux. It's another, I think it's an upgraded version of Bonjour, but I'm just using Bonjour because it just works for me. So if you do use Avahi, you can uncomment this and get it working. So we're going to logs. We're going to set the logging. We're going to set it up in a JSON file. And then we're going to give it options. Just make sure this don't get out of hand. So we're going to put some options on it for max sizes. We're going to put a label on here for Watchtower. And then we're going to go down to Watchtower. It manages the updates from Scrypted. And that's what that says. Okay, now we're going to go create a Watchtower inside of the stack of services up here. So we're going to set environment variables underneath the Watchtower. And I would recommend setting this to a random string like it says. This is not a production server, so I'm not going to set this. But you can set it. It just takes a random string. Anything you want to put, you probably can put a UUID or a v4 or something in there. Okay, now we're going to go back down here. We're going to go to image. Then we're going to pull it from Docker Hub's container Watchtower image. We're going to name the Watchtower container Scrypted Watchtower. We're going to put a restart like I've said before in the other one. This makes it where you can stop the container and then it won't restart on you. You have to put in that if you want that functionality. Okay, volumes. We're going to mount the volume on the local side to the docker.sock. We're going to mount it in the container, docker.sock. Then we're going to go down here, put a label on the watchtower for scripted. And let me scroll up just a bit. Okay, now we're going to publish some ports. This is going to be on the local side, 10.4.4.4. And then we're going to publish it inside of the container, or we're going to get it inside the container on 8080. Okay, now this is auto update configured, and it must match the auto update URL above. Okay, now we're going to check for updates on the watchtower and run the command inside the watchtower. And then I think that's explained in detail. If you use SMB, you can uncomment these for the NVR. Like I said before. Okay, I think I went over that. Okay, it's good. Looks right. Okay, everything's right. So we're going to go down here to actions. Under actions, there's a deploy the stack button. And then we're going to just click it. It's going to deploy the stack, and it's going to say stack successfully deployed up here. If you don't get that, you need to delete this stack and go into the add stack again, paste the YAML file in there, and then you need to go in your developer tools before you hit the deploy stack. You need to go in the network, and then you need to look at that request that it does, and you need to go all the way to the right and check. Sometimes the errors are low disk space. So you can add disk space to your VM or server or whatever you're running for Proxmox. Or if you're running Proxmox, you can do that. You can add disk space to it. Okay. Now let's go on the stack. We did name it Scrypted Stack, so it did put that name in there. If you want to edit the Docker Compose, and if you didn't put these in, you can go ahead and do that anytime you want right here. And then you just go down here and you say update the stack, and you have choices. You can say repull image and redeploy. That means it will repull fresh images off of Docker Hub or wherever repository it's in. Then it will redeploy it. It will redeploy all the containers inside of the Portainer. So you can just toggle back and forth between this, and then you can say update right here. I'm gonna say cancel because I don't want to redeploy. Okay, now let's go to the containers right here. And okay, it named the scripted watchtower that name. Then it's running currently successfully, so that means it's running. Okay, now let's go to stack. That's the group that we're in currently. It did put it in the group correctly. Okay, now it pulled the image from Docker Hub. Okay, now it published a 10.4.4.4, and on the local side and the container side, it did 80.80.80. That's correct. Okay, now it down here, it named the scripted container scripted. Okay, now it is running, so that lets you know it's running correctly. And normally if something's not running correctly, it'll go back and forth between restarting, and you'll probably have to stop it if you're having errors and look at the logs. You can go in here real quick. You can just say logs right here, and you can look at what's happening with the server. You can see that it did start correctly, successfully started. The S6RC, it is listening. Okay, now let's go back to containers over here on the left. You can see that it did pull it from Docker Hub on the scripted, and it should be up and about. Okay, now we're going to go over here, and we're going to go to the IP of the Proxmox VM that you're using, the Docker, the Portainer. and then we're going to go to 10.4443, and then we're going to go to HTTPS. It has to have HTTPS because it listens on 443 port. Okay, now we're going to just switch the tabs. We're going to reload real quick. Oops. Let's go over here. Might have to copy this because sometimes the browser has problems with it. Okay, now your connection is not private. Just go to Advanced, Proceed. Okay, now it's going to open up Create Account. When you're on a fresh installation of Scrypted, it's going to say that you need to create an account first. And just name this Big Bear for the username. And we're going to put a simple password in because this isn't production, but you need to put a stronger password in. At least I would recommend that. So you're going to go down here to log in, the button down here, and just click it. Okay, now you can see that they're trying to advertise the NVR, and if you're into that, or if you want to use their NVR, I'm sure that supports the development of Scrypted somehow with money, or something. So let's go into Management Console, and they do put a lot of time in this. So, okay, now let's go into okay, we're in the admin panel for Scrypted. You can see it's pretty neat. It's got CPU usage right here. We're not using much because it's a fresh installation. You can see memory usage right here. Each service uses. I'm going to install some plugins just so you see all this add up. RPC objects, you can see that it did. It's showing you how many objects it's got right now. Okay, now we're going to go on to devices. You can see all your devices that you currently have running. We're on there. I haven't played with automations at all, so, and then device groups, haven't played with scripts. And then you got your users. You can have a terminal access, and so you can have full terminal access in the container. Okay, now let's go into settings. You can go to scripted service addresses right here. You can just put your IP, your local IP is the one. That's what I do. But you might have a different configuration and you might need to do something different. So let's go to plugins. And let's go to install. And you can see all the plugins right here. You got snapshot to where it creates snapshots of videos into images. So videos into images. You got your FFmpeg for transpiling videos. Okay, now you got your Reolink. That's a camera service. Security system. You can add RTSP cameras manually if you want to. Not sure what the Elgato is. HomeKit support. We do want this because we want it to be able to hook to our Apple TVs. At least I do. Okay, now you can go over here to server port. You can see what the HomeKit's listing on, the HomeKit plugin's listing on. And you can go to MDNS advertiser. And if you are using Avani, you can change it right here. Avahi. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And then you got Bonjour, you got Avahi, and then you got this one. I haven't played with this one at all, so I'm not going to say I know it. MDNS interfaces. Okay. You can see that it is enabled. You can give he's got a really good documentation system, explains things. This is for non-Linux users then. It's best experience. It fixes a lot of deficiencies of Bonjour Advertiser. You can, if you're not a Linux user, you can try to use that for your MDNS. I'm going to use Bonjour because that's what always worked. Okay, now you can see your console right here. This is really nice for debugging. If you have latency on your network, you can see it losing packets, anything like that. And then you got your REPL. your JavaScript variables. And now I'm going to just close this console, close this one. You can see your events down here. This is really handy to be able to see the events that happen on the HomeKit plugin. You got your storage that you can see down here. And you can see the variables that are set for the storage keys. I haven't played with that too much. Okay, you got your extensions. Don't have much going on here. New installation, so you do have it to where you can add to launcher. I'm gonna go over here and I got a plugins. Don't want to go too fast. Okay, install right here. Okay, I'm gonna type in Ring because if you have Ring cameras, you can hook it to here. It will use your battery on non-powered devices, so I would be sparingly on that. Because when Apple TV comes on, it's always trying to get the stream, so it's streaming from Ring and streaming from your device, and since it'll live stream, it's going to use your batteries up. I haven't had too much problems with that though, but other people can have problems, so I'm just letting you know. You're gonna put in your email and password, and then if you have your two-factor on, I would hope you'd have your two-factor on. Security. Okay, now you can set your night mode, your poll interval. You can see your versions on each plugin that Scrypted has. You can go back in versions in case that's a buggy version, and you just go back. It's pretty been solid product, so I haven't seen many bugs at all. So you can reload the plugin. Just right here, if you change anything, it'll alert you up here when you need to do something. Like when you change HomeKit devices or anything, you need to go into the plugins, and then you need to go to HomeKit, and then you need to do reload plugin, and it will reload the HomeKit plugins, the HomeKit cameras, the ones that you have imported into the home. You can install Unify Protect. So now it's asking you for an IP address, of course. It's wanting you to install a local user for your Unify. I do not recommend installing a remote user. You need to install a local user. It's pretty easy. Okay, now you can go over here. You can reload the plugin like usual. You have your console. Like I said, really good for debugging. You have your events like usual down here. Your storage keys. And it tells you that down here it does want a local administrator, so it doesn't walk you through it like I thought it would be, but might do another video on that. Automations said, I think that's about it. Oh wait, I was going to show you see it's adding up, starting to put your plugins in here and saying it's using more CPU, like Ring's using a little bit of CPU, WebRTC, HomeKit's using 2 CPU, 2 seconds of the CPU, I mean. So memory usage, memory's adding up a little bit here and there to just run the plugin. So you will have to have a pretty, I guess, powerful server, a little bit powerful server, and you can always add resources and Proxmox to it. I did have to do that because I have 33 cameras, so that but the Apple TVs, just so you know, they do have a limit, it seems like. I have found out the limit's kind of like 16 cameras, but I did use Homebridge before, and 16 was limit on it. I don't know if Scrypted will handle more than 16. Depends on your network, depends on if it's hardwired or wireless. My IP's been pretty good. Wi-Fi 6, and it's been pretty solid on getting it to where the stream is consistent and stable. But that's about it on this, and that's a full walkthrough on it. I think I was pretty slow enough to where people can understand it really good, and I think that's it on that. Can't think of any more things I need to teach you. Okay. See you later. So today I've showed you how to install Scrypted on Portainer, and that makes it to where you can stream non-HomeKit cameras to your Apple TVs as long as you import them into the Home app. One thing I do need to make sure is you need to keep an eye on your console logs and for packet loss and different errors and stuff, and just look in there, make sure nothing's happening with it. If you do see like slow loading on the live stream or anything, it's normally cause of packet loss, and that normally means you need to adjust your APs or your wireless access points, or you need to hook hardwired. Wi-Fi 6 works really well if you're in line of sight, and it gives you the best streaming with no packet loss from what I can tell on my APs. But if you have any questions or you get stuck on anything, feel free to comment down below, and I'll be glad to help you out as much as I can. Thank you, and have a great day.